The debate between iPhones and Android phones has existed since their inception, but choosing between the best of the best has never been more complicated. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and this is HTC 10 versus iPhone 6s. It only takes a few visits to any public area to notice just how popular the iPhone is. Apple's marketing power is iconic, and its results can be seen in the wide acceptance of most of its products. The story is very different for HTC. The company is known for pioneering the first Android phone, and also for its design innovation, but its meager marketing has left its products with little credit for it. Comparing these in sales figures alone would have the iPhone just knock the HTC 10 out, but not necessarily because it's a better product. On the positive front, both devices are at similar stages of refinement for each company. The iPhone 6s has been in the market since September 2015, and given the S after the name, this product is more a boost in features under a 2-year-old chassis. The HTC 10 launched in April 2016. Its design language began on last year's 1A9, but now with a dramatic boost in features over a concept that we all agree mimicked the iPhone. Both devices are made of very strong aluminum, and both include 2.5D glass on the surface. The iPhone favors more gentle curves all around, giving it a pebble-like feel, whereas with the 10, the angular curves are less natural, but more eye-catching from a distance. In the hand, the premium feel comes standard thanks to the aluminum finish of both devices. Where the 10 would win this one is mainly thanks to the IP53 water and dust resistance, where the iPhone doesn't have any. The 10 is naturally more commanding given it's 7mm taller, 4mm wider, 2mm thicker, and 18 grams heavier than the iPhone. That added body allows the 10 to house a larger 5.2-inch Quad HD display compared to 4.7 inches at 750p with the iPhone. The bonus is that the 10 offers an extra 340 pixels every inch when compared to Apple's minimum Retina display. That doesn't limit either LCD from being gorgeous, but it's hard to deny that the Super LCD 5 on the 10 seems crisper than the IPS panel on the iPhone at first sight. Under each display, the differences are even stronger. HTC houses the cream of the crop in Android specifications for 2016 with a quad-core Snapdragon 820 processor, 4GB of RAM, 32GB of expandable storage via microSD. The iPhone may seem like a slouch on paper with its dual-core A9 chip, 2GB of RAM, and non-expandable storage options, but we all know that's only in paper. Wireless connectivity on both is fairly standard, and in the battery department, the 10 houses a larger 3000 mAh battery compared to 1715 on the iPhone. You'd think the iPhone would charge faster though, but that's actually not the case given the fact that the 10 includes Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0 out of the box. Overall, at least on paper, the 10 wins this one by a long shot. All this being said, we all know that the reason why the iPhone doesn't need all this power is thanks to iOS. Apple's mobile operating system continues to excel in power efficiency, reliability, and simplicity. There's very little room for gimmicks here, and Apple's new 3D Touch user interface drives an extra layer of ease by allowing users to interact directly with shortcuts even before launching an application. HTC decided to take some of these cues with the 10. The company is no longer trying to compete with stock Android, and instead aggregating its great style with its proprietary launcher, and then blending it with the least amount of bloat possible by not duplicating applications with Google. The result is an HTC 10 that's far more customizable than the iPhone's standard grid of icons, and also a very pleasant experience overall. Theming capabilities on the HTC launcher only contribute to making the phone feel yours, where, in the case of the iPhone, it tends to want to show you what's best. About the only thing I'd prefer about the iPhone is its denser grid of icons, which in turn requires less screen to portray the same amount of applications, where the 10 kind of doesn't know that it has a Quad HD display at times. Now, whether that improves or deters your user experience is a matter of taste. I know a lot of people who find the grid less daunting and others who like to make their phone their own. I've found delight in both devices, but that's mainly because each is great in performing without a stutter. Using either phone to play games was a delight. Apple's A9 may have less cores on paper, but it's just as much of a beast about playing graphics-intensive games as the 10. Where the 10 wins mostly is in battery life thanks to its larger power pack, allowing for more than a full day of heavy use, where, in the case of the iPhone, you'll most likely have to charge by 4 p.m. if you play a lot of games. Even in the fingerprint scanner department, Apple's famously fast Touch ID doesn't seem to be as fast as the HTC capacitive button, but that's mainly because you don't have to press the button on the 10. Now, one very interesting comparison has to do with audio. The iPhone may seem louder, but its mono speaker can be easily muffled.
Look of an iPhone. There is no app drawer, so all of your apps are added to new homes.
The 10's Boom Sound dual speakers ensure audio is played regardless of how you hold the phone.
Surprisingly, Marvel Future Fight, which stutters on a Galaxy S7 or LG G5, played more fluidly on...
But where this technology really shines is when wearing headphones. iPhones have always been great about retaining the audio legacy of the iPod, but the audio DAC on the 10 is just wonderful. There's simply no room for comparison, and it's also great that you can customize it depending on which ear listens better than the other. And then when it comes to the cameras, the competition just gets more intense. The iPhone 6s sports a 12-megapixel primary camera at 1.22 microns, f2.2 aperture, and electronic image stabilization. The 10 also houses a 12-megapixel camera, but here we're talking about a 1.55 micron ultra-pixel sensor, f1.8 aperture, and optical image stabilization. The resulting photos on both devices are gorgeous, but the added specifications of the 10 allow it to provide brighter photos, along with a crisper bokeh than the iPhone. The iPhone's camera application may be the most practical in its class, but it also stands behind in supporting what the HTC 10 can do with manual controls, along with raw photo capability. About the only thing where I find the iPhone to be superior is in the launch speed of the camera application and the speed at which it takes the photo. And keep in mind, let's be clear, the iPhone takes really great photos, just not as great as the 10. When it comes to video stabilization, there is simply no room for comparison. The HTC 10's optically stabilized camera is doing a far better job than the iPhone. When it comes to the selfie shooter, that video stabilization is not that evident on the 10, but you will appreciate the added field of view that the iPhone just does not provide. Overall, to conclude this video, I think that the theme of the comparison is clear. The iPhone 6s continues to be one of the most popular smartphones in the world, but there's a reason why Apple has finally found a sales slump. The iPhone 6s is definitely a great phone, but this video proves that it's no longer the greatest one. And the HTC 10 is a clear example of how hard it's become for the iPhone 6s to compete. The discussion of which platform is better is not even necessary anymore. The HTC 10 dwarfs the iPhone 6s, not just in specifications, but because Apple is no longer the only company that can delight the consumer in the overall package. I definitely consider that HTC did just as well here with the 10. Folks, and just like in the case of this comparison, we have a ton of comparisons coming up. So make sure you follow us on social media and hit that subscribe button down below for more videos like this one. In addition, you can also catch this video on Vessel, vessel.com/Pocketnow. Follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera, or on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you on the next one.